Hello, and welcome to Victory Podcast with Jackie Mckeever. I'm your host, Jackie Mckeever. And on Victory Chat, we talk about everything from self-development to faith to business and especially books. And speaking of books, I'm doing a special series. Okay, it's called Behind the Author's Pen, where we get all up in the author's business. Okay, we go behind the scenes of the book, at the books that they write, and ask them a few questions about the book so that we can get a sneak peek, not a piece. But anyway, so today I have a special guest. Her name is Theresa Tirk. She is the author of Uncensored, a guide to putting on your big girl panties. And y'all, welcome, Theresa. I just want to say before we get started, I love the name of that book.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, I wanted it to be, fun and, sassy, kind of like me. So it all works. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to connect.
Are you ready to get in the hot seat and us to get all up in your business?
Get up in there, girl. I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question is, why did you write the book?
So it's actually something I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've going back decades. It's a story of my life from childhood through today. So it's really important to me to share my journey and all that I've gone through in the hopes that it will help somebody else.
That's cool. So how long did it take for you to actually write the book?
Yeah, so I made the commitment in December of 2020 that I was getting serious and I was finally doing it. I was pulling the trigger and it was going to be a no holds barred book and process, and I was diving right in, and everything else that I decided, that I do in my business and stuff all went on the back burner, and it was sole focus. And so January, really diving into the actual writing process. December was kind of like outlining and brainstorming and all of that, and then January was writing, and I finished the book in June, like mid-June. And then it went through like the back and forth of the edits with, I had like a writing coach, and we went back and forth and did all of those things. And on July 23rd is when it published.
Cool. So were there any delays in producing or writing the book?
I would say the only delays were me kind of getting in my own head and doubting, should I say this? Should I change that? Should I act? Should I say that? Like, should I really share this much? Is that too much? Should I say that? So there was a lot of that, moments of that. But like I said, luckily I had a beautiful friend that was on the journey with me who kind of coached me and guided me through it and helped me get out of my own way.
That's good.
Yeah.
Who was this book written for?
Me. Selfishly, it was part of my own healing journey. But more than that, it's for the woman who, I shouldn't just say woman because my neighbor read it and he's a guy and he got a lot out of it. But for anybody who grew up in any sort of dysfunction and chaos or dealt with generational trauma that they want to break, or anybody that's suffering from mental health issues or moms, like I kind of run the gamut of things that I discuss. And growing up in dysfunction and with addict parents and no father and just like that whole aspect. And then, starting down the same path in my teen years and transitioning out of that, and then becoming a mother at a young age.
Wow.
And navigating that. And like, I kind of grew up in a state of people pleasing. As like, that was my survival mechanism. And it talks about like just how I carried that into my adulthood, and how because of that and like all my childhood stuff led me into like depression and anxiety. So my point to the book was, of course, to help myself in my own healing, and but also I really just wanted it to be a resource for anybody who, is suffering through things like that, or acknowledges themselves in any of my story and want help with trying to make changes in their own life, because it's not just my story. I've packed it full of resources to help others
That's
that
good.
that can recognize anything that I share in themselves. I give them resources and tools on how to begin to make changes in their own life.
So was this the first time you've written or written a book? It doesn't have to actually be a book, but is this the first time you've written something like this?
This would be the first time that I've written anything of this sort of magnitude. I've had a blog. It was mostly, like holistic wellness and essential oils and mother stuff, and like self-care and stuff along those lines. So I'd had a blog for probably about a year
Mm,
before deciding to write the book, and I've read a few articles, for online magazines
awesome.
and things, but this was definitely the first time I've done anything in this capacity.
Will there be other books in this genre for you?
Yes, definitely. I'm actually I'm in the process of doing the brainstorming and all of that for book number 2.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Y'all heard it here first, y'all. So, what do you want readers to get from when they read your books or any of your writing?
Yeah, so what I really try to convey, and what I really want people to walk away from anytime that I can connect with anybody, is just a sense of knowing that it's okay if you're struggling to ask for help, knowing that you yourself matter, you need to be a priority in your own life, and that relationship that you have with yourself is so vital in every other aspect of your life, that you can't keep neglecting yourself if you want a fulfilled life all around.
That was beautifully said. Wait a minute. Let me hold back my tears. That was amazing, because we all need to hear that.
Yeah.
We all need to be reminded of that, because especially when we're going through something, it doesn't matter what it is. A lot of times we feel like we're the only one, and it's great that that's what you want your audience, your readers, the people that connect to you, to know that they're not alone.
Yeah, 100%, because we all, like you said, we all go through that. Or you think, oh, my problem's not that important because so and so has it so much worse. Well, there's always going to be somebody in a situation that is perceived to be worse than your own, but that doesn't make what you're going through any less painful or traumatic. So we need to learn to stop seeking that validation from elsewhere, and just learn to turn inward and connect to ourselves. And we got to
That's
rebuild that
right.
relationship with ourselves.
And there's power in connection.
Yes.
The next question I have is, what other books or authors inspire you?
So I have been an avid reader for all my life. Like, I've always loved to read, and I don't really have like one specific genre that I prefer over the other. I go through kind of phases, right? Like I go through a romance novel phase, or I go through like
Yeah, most creatives do. Most
yeah.
creatives do.
I would say probably within the last year or so, I've really been on like a self-help, sort of genre. But like, I love Gabby Bernstein. I love her books. Glennon Doyle, Untamed. That was actually one that I read right before I decided to write my book. It was a big inspiration for me to take the plunge. And so I love, those are two big ones that I read a lot of like right now. But I'll also throw in a Nicholas Sparks when
There
I
you
need
go.
a distraction.
That's good. Um, what advice would you give somebody that just started writing?
First of all, to don't be afraid to just do it, because that's a big one. We all feel like, we have these stories inside of us that we want to tell or we want to share. And then we get in our own head of, well, who wants to hear me, or who am I to write a book, or, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not like so and so, or so, just take that step, like have that confidence and courage in yourself to believe that, and don't write it for anybody else. Write it for you, and then just see what happens.
That's awesome. I always call that the Moses complex. Because everybody that listen to me may not share the same religion, but in the Bible, Moses was given an assignment, and he had every 1,000 reasons not to do that, even though those ideas of that word came to him, to free people, right? And he was saying, well, nobody's going to listen to me. I have a speech impediment. Why not this person? Why not that person? But again, they were reminded that it takes you. Yes. Sometimes it's because of your imperfections why you are the perfect person.
Right.
Anyway, the next question.
I love that. No, it's beautifully said, because God made us all to be our own unique individual person.
True.
I mean, he put you here for a reason. So share that reason with the world.
That's right. So the next question is, could you give us a quick blurb or a sneak peek behind your book and let us know where we can find it?
Yes. So the book, again, it's my life. It's all about me growing up with parents that were, addicts and alcoholics, and the chaos that came from that, and how in my early teen years, I kind of felt myself traveling down that same path. It was more of a looking for something, like seeking out some sort of validation or some kind of love, because I didn't have it within. So I spent, teen years trying to fit in or please others, or, find my space in the world. And then in my early 20s, I met my now husband. We were actually 20, and by 21, I was pregnant. And it talks about, all of the ups and downs of motherhood and how mental health affected my journey of motherhood and in my marriage. And it really just, it's funny at times, because I can be a little sassy, a little spunky. So there's some of that in there. There's definitely my sense of humor, which some people would say would be a little raunchy at times. But there's also, the moments of vulnerability. Like, I don't hold back. I completely and utterly share everything to the point of rawness. And that was the only way to do it. It was the only way to really, get the truth out there and really let others feel what I felt, so that they could feel within themselves. So it talks about, how I finally asked for help. Like, I was Googling stuff about suicide. And, that was like a breaking point where I had to break down and ask for help. And so it then takes you on the journey of what happens after that, and, going through my spiritual, reconnecting to that, and just then turning it around and finding joy within and joy in my family, and, reconnecting all the love and sharing that with the world.
Love it. Where can I find your book?
It's available on Amazon. There's also a journal and a coloring book that I created to go with it.
Oh, awesome.
And all of that is on Amazon. But the book itself, like if you prefer like e-reader, it's on every e-reader platform, Kindle, iTunes, all of it, Nook, whatever your preference is.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for getting in our hot seat and answering our questions. Y'all make sure that y'all go out and purchase Theresa's book, Uncensored, a guide to putting on your big girl panties. I just wanted to say the title again because I love that title. Okay, but y'all go out and y'all buy that book, honey. Anyway, thank you for listening and or watching Victory Chat with Jackie on YouTube. Remember, your victory starts here. Thank you so much, Theresa.
Thank you.